Today we're talking about owning your own brand, newsletter, podcast, and a channel mix that survives the updates. Our guest is gonna be John Wright from Stats Drone and Affiliate BI. He's been shipping content weekly for years and years, and with no signs of stopping it anytime soon. Now, how do casino and iGaming companies stay top of mind with AI overviews and a lot of LLMs? Which channels should you actually keep and why? We already know consistency is key, but on the rest, is John always right? Let's see together. I'm your host, Victor Julio Coupé, and this is John. You right now are talking a lot about how owning your brand is very much important. And we know, especially in the iGaming slash affiliate world, that we have so many options. It is hard to stay top of mind. So whenever we're talking about casino, whenever we're talking about being an affiliate, being a game provider, a platform itself, sometimes you have to take an extra step to make sure that you're owning that brand, to make sure that it's not only another thing that you're going to be clicking and then tomorrow you're going to forget about it. For these iGaming affiliates slash casinos slash providers, what can owning your brand or your audience even do that posting on LinkedIn, that doing that personal branding posting on LinkedIn just simply don't? And of course, welcome to the square table.
Yeah, it's a tough question right off the bat. I would say, as a core principle, people want to buy from people. Like, that's never changed. And as much as we're getting into a world where, we saw in the last couple of years, AI content became cheap because of it.
True.
We do have AI video, but I still believe that, that's not going to replace what we're doing right now, which is having a conversation. I don't think anyone wants to go to a podcast and listen to AI people or even AI dead people, which is now becoming a thing. So in terms of like building the brand, it's kind of like, how does AI help or not help, when it comes to branding? My experience with branding is I don't know what I'm doing. So I've got a SaaS company. So I just try things. So that's why we created a podcast and did a newsletter. And from doing these things, we kind of learned what works on the B2B side. So I try to take this and learn from the B2B and apply it to B2C. And of course, we're a software company for affiliates. So they are the B2C people. And I've seen some trends of what's been working for them. And as Google's become a lot more disruptive of basically saying, you know what, we don't want any of this same content. We don't want content that doesn't have either a voice or is missing some data. It's like, what is kind of coming to the forefront of this new world of affiliate marketing, SEO, all that stuff. And I think it's a mixture of things. And I think brand's always a core element. You can be anonymous, have lots of really cool data, and that's still building a brand. Look at a guy like Glenn Alsop, who doesn't like doing video. He is social on social media like LinkedIn and X and all that, but he's leading by creating stuff that no one has. He's basically going, I'm going to build data products. I've got friends on the side that they're basically like, we're streamers. That's what we do day in, day out. Like, we're not changing. So yeah, it's a tough one. People need to find their own lanes, but I think you can never suffer when it comes to building a brand. And building a brand is kind of like putting yourself in a weird position where you're kind of being accountable. Like, are you going to try to build a brand and do a podcast twice and then not do it again? You can do that, but that's setting yourself up for failure. So I think at least try doing things like a podcast or do something. But the things that I've learned from being on your side of the fence of being a host is talking to really amazing people that have been consistent. And even though things are changing in the background, they still remain true. Look at Steve Toth, who's got his SEO notebook newsletter for what we're approaching 6 years now. SEO's changed a lot, but Steve Toth is still doing amazing things. So perfect example of branding and being consistent.
Should we always strive for the leader, owner, founder, C-level to be that face of the company during that branding process? Or depending on what we're talking about, can we go a little bit extra? For example, talking about a game provider, should we have developers showing their faces and talking about how they're developing certain things? Should we have salespeople bringing more insights about the deals themselves? Or should we stick to one person because that person is going to be the main player, is going to be the Lionel Messi of the company, so people should always watch Messi?
It's not an easy answer. There's two parts to it. One is I don't really see a wrong way of doing it. Like, should it be the CEO or the salesperson? I think you need to try stuff, and you won't know if it works until you don't try it. So, a perfect example of this is a guy named Tom Hunt who's working for a company, and he's like, okay, his job was sales. So he's like, can I create a podcast? And He didn't know if it was going to bring in revenue, but it took him, I think it was like 6 months in before one of his guests turned out to be a really big client. So it's like
Okay.
you
Yeah.
mentioned before recording this, like, we like to do these recordings without selling. You don't have to, but once you build the trust, you open doors. So it's just try stuff and don't be afraid of failing. And also when it comes to who should it be? Should it be the owner or the any employee? Some owners aren't really going to ever do a good job being on video and audio. That's just, you might not be able to change it. Sometimes that actually might work in your favor, where if you're really good with editing, you can actually take someone who's maybe awkward and work with it. There is, from a business owner point of view, there is a small downside of putting one of your employees in that position. You're going to empower them. And what I believe to be true, going back to your first question of like branding, you become a brand. People want to buy from you. So if you leave for another company, people are following you instantly, which is great for you. And the company owners need to take that into consideration. Nothing wrong with it. I think people should do it regardless. And hey, it's not the end of the world to have a podcast series where you got to find a new host. I mean, yeah, if you got someone like you where you're doing an amazing job, it's like, okay, that's going to
Thank you.
sting. But there's always someone that you can always be like, you know what? Let's just bring the energy and let's come up with ideas and what's working, what's not working. Let's try stuff.
I agree. I agree. And I feel like right now, whenever we're talking about trying stuff, AI is always a part of that conversation. Oh, should we try a different video format? Yeah, sure. Look, this script has the underlord, which is the AI. AI already gives us highlights of reels. We should start posting reels. So, of course, we're not going to be talking today about AI generated content for SEO purposes. This is not a video for that. But I feel like we can start talking about how AI can also improve such branding and such awareness. So, my question to you would be, talking about affiliates themselves, keeping the subject and the persona back in line, what should they first change or apply in their strategy that you feel like AI right now is even making it easier, quicker? Sometimes in the past, it took hours, it took days. Right now, we have more things. You even said to yourself about the AI avatars. It's not a good solution and still undercooked, as most of AI things are, but it is something that saves us time. So what would you do if you were today coming to an affiliate company and they're like, John, we need your help with this strategy, with building a brand that people follow. What would you do first? And would you use AI, yes or no? I think this is the question.
Yeah. I think people should always find ways of using AI. And I'm going to put my hand up and say, you know what? I'm guilty of not being the best at using AI for lots of things because we have two dilemmas. We can use AI for the marketing and sales part, which is something we have to do as a company, but then we're also building products for affiliates, which has the potential to add AI. So for me, I've
True.
got my own problem. Where do I pick my first AI project? And I'm leaning towards customer first, and I'll worry about my own problems later of having a podcast and going, how can we use AI in clever ways? I think it's just like, again, try stuff. The way I'm using a lot of AIs, I kind of find it really strange because when I talk to people and listen to their best practices of how they use I feel like I'm kind of in this weird zone. I'm like, is anyone else using it the way I am? Like, I'm using it for ideation of data visualization. So I'm not
That's
asking it
very
to make the
nice.
data viz. I'm asking it questions of like, what could I do for strategy? And I basically go through like these weird pseudo conversations. So again, I go full circle back to try stuff. I do think there's probably more things you could do on the automation side than
That
on
is
the
true.
AI side. So I think a lot of people are chasing AI all the time. Like there's AI tools everywhere. I mean, look at this with Descript. I mean,
True.
you're the one who's telling me about some of the AI tools they have there. I'm like, I know they're there, but I'll touch them later. Figure it out for
Yeah,
yourself. Network with people. I think the advantage you and I have is we get to ask these AI questions over and over again. So I've been able to kind of learn from a lot of people going, how do you use AI for SEO, for content, for B2B marketing? There's tons of ideas, but I've made a short-term decision saying, I already know what I'm doing personally. We're doing this for our product first, but yeah, it's there's no reason not to do it. It's we have
I
so
agree.
many friends in common. You follow them on Facebook, you follow them on LinkedIn, you follow them on X. It's not difficult to just follow a couple of them and be like, watch what they do. Uh,
That's
like
true.
Julian Goldie. I mean, these guys just don't stop. It's take some
Now,
ideas, take
Gold is
one
a YouTube
project, run with
machine.
it. Yeah,
He is for sure one of the benchmarks in my own life regarding video content generation. He's not a robot, he's not an AI, and he's just like the Cristiano Ronaldo of YouTube in our market, right? He's always
yeah.
scoring.
Yeah,
always in the front line scoring goals. That's crazy. Shout out to Julian Goldie. Very good job that he's been doing here. I feel like
absolutely.
we can even keep with the Goldie in mind, talking about newsletter. We have you here who has developed yourself a newsletter. Can you walk us through the decision itself about, okay, I'm going to do it? What's the commitment slash effort that you put into it? Is it something that you have a daily block in your agenda to write about the newsletter? Because you see, whenever I think about starting Kensho Media newsletter, first, who am I going to talk to? Do I want to be very much formal? Do I want to be casual? Is it Victor's newsletter? Is it Kensho Media's newsletter? There are so many questions that go, and of course, you have so many answers that you can find online. But as you said so right now, and I feel like this is always going to be the key giveaway of this episode is you always should keep on trying. How did it work for you when it all started?
Yeah. It was probably more odd circumstance. Like I invested enough time into building my profile on LinkedIn. So 3.5 years ago, I started with, I don't know, maybe 1,000 at best or less than that. Now I've got over 15,000. So that took a lot of time to build that up. And of course, in the last year and a bit, LinkedIn announced that they're doing newsletters because everyone's doing them. You got Substack and Beehive. Beehive is really buzzing, pun intended. And then of course, LinkedIn won in on that game. So I decided to jump on it more for LinkedIn first. I did know the value of newsletters. Like I've been studying them for a long time, but I've never been good at them. Now that I study it a bit more because I got LinkedIn, and also because I've been able to interview guys like Steve Toth, where they have their really cool newsletter, I've learned some things. I learned how much time they put into it, what value it's brought, and sometimes you don't even need to ask the question. Do you and I need to actually ask Steve Toth, how valuable has that newsletter been for you? It's like we don't need to ask because
True.
look at his profile. Like his LinkedIn profile is over 50,000 subscribers. I mean, he's a keynote for SEO events. He's got his own SEO event, SEO IRL. Like it's done well. And I remember the advice he gave me when I was interviewing him, and this is what I wasn't doing at the time. He's like, what he was told when he was started by a good friend was that you need to be consistent because the second you aren't consistent, like if you go a week without a newsletter, your audience is dead. So all the goodwill you've built up previously, if you stop for a couple weeks, you've basically just destroyed what you've built, even if you've been doing it for 8 months. So he said it was non-negotiable. And when I looked at my own LinkedIn stats, I was like, yeah, when I publish, I got these spikes. They're nice. I said, let's just try to be consistent. It was a little bit more effort because I'm doing one podcast a week and one newsletter a week. In my position right now, I don't really regret it. Yeah, every Monday night and Wednesday night, I have a bit of homework where it's like, I need something done. If I don't have something ready to go, I need to figure it out. But been a really good pressure. I've been really happy with the content I've created with the newsletter. And I find by putting that accountability back on myself, yes, we can talk about brand building, but the accountability has meant that in the past 3 years, I've got almost 3 years worth of podcasts. Like we're talking 150 episodes over here. Box one. Box two is my newsletter. I've been almost 1 year consistent of publishing every week.
That's so
And
nice.
that's added up 2,800 subscribers on LinkedIn. I'm also duplicating it on Beehive because LinkedIn could turn this off at any time.
Mm-hmm.
And they're actually rewarding content. I think they're actually not rewarding LinkedIn newsletter content as much. So they're going, I think this is what LinkedIn's doing. They're going, words are nice, but everyone's doing words and everyone was using LinkedIn to rank in Google. So basically, they're rewarding more thought leadership through pictures and video.
I was actually going to ask you about the format itself because I noticed how Telegram is still such a huge channel in the affiliate world. We're talking here about LinkedIn, we're talking about email and Beehive for the tech generated content. But should we, and by we putting again affiliate in mind, should we focus also on delivering information on Telegram? Because I'm even going to open my Telegram right now. I am registered in a channel called the iGaming Playbook, where they daily give me news all over the world about the casinos and stuff. This is working. I'm remembering about iGaming Playbook. So should this also be counted as a channel going forward for these companies?
It absolutely is a channel, but you have to decide, do you want to do all the channels or is it the same message in
Mm,
all the channels or is it different? I know for me personally, it's one thing I've also learned going back to Tom Hunt, to shout out to Tom Hunt. He basically said the same thing. He's like, take one channel and master it. So Where a
Nice.
lot of people fail in, it's not even, again, brand building. It's actually more on the social media side. It's where people fail is they try to do all the channels. You've got TikTok and Instagram and Facebook and LinkedIn and X and Reddit, and it doesn't stop, right? So if you keep trying to do all of them, what you find, it goes full circle back to this consistency. If you're consistent on X, you'll stack your X profile. I've never been consistent on X, so I don't have the reward of what's
Same.
happening on X. And I've also not cared to learn the algorithm because I don't know, maybe it's not rewarding for me
Changes
early
so
on.
much as well.
Yeah, LinkedIn changes so much. So I'm still happy with what I have as an asset for LinkedIn. But personally moving forward, it's like someone is going to eat that Telegram channel. Someone's going to do it better than me. I don't know if I want to be part of that. And it's kind of like, where should I spend my time? I think for me personally, and this is just when I look at myself, I think I'd rather actually invest that time doing maybe YouTube. So it's
Same.
depends on the person, the situation, and again, try stuff. So I've already know the lanes I'm gonna swim in.
That's nice. That's a good answer. So for a new or mid-sized casino affiliate website, as we were just talking right now about some options, what's the channel mix for the next 6 months to a year? Maybe in the SEO newsletter, podcast, social media that you would recommend and follow. Overall, in a very generic way, do they focus on website and written content for SEO purposes? Should they go for YouTube and try ranking high on YouTube? Is there a mix that we should follow? If a company were to ask you this, like, John, you know so many about so much things, what would you do for the first year in regarding to branding?
Yeah, I would focus on that keyword we talked about earlier, which is audience. And it's like, what is the audience? It's like, is that followers on Telegram? Is that follower on Spotify? Those are cool channels, but those channels can destroy you at any moment with a single click. So that's not fully owning your audience. So it's, we've gone from like three blocks. The old block is the SEO block, which is users go from Google or whatever, they see your site, they click on tracking links. You have zero interaction with that affiliate or that player unless you actually have a newsletter. So I think newsletters are going to be more important. And I think apps that eat attention for like, how do you capture the audience? In one aspect, you've got streaming. Another aspect, imagine building a Chrome plugin for casino players to, I'm just going to give you something basic. It manages your usernames and passwords, and it'll give you bonus updates for those brands if you have it logged in or whatever. I think it's these types of products and services that are going to capture the imagination. And I think once you have that audience, your power over that audience is more valuable, specifically in iGaming. So I'll give you an example where if you have click ID level tracking for programs that provide it, so I'm giving you dynamic variables, not necessarily postbacks, although they're helpful, you're basically able to do something as powerful as this. I go, Victor, you're in my newsletter database or you're using one of my apps. I have your email address. So what I can do is I can send you a tracking link, but it's not a regular link. It is a link with a code in it. And I'm going to give you
Okay.
007. You are 007 for the lifetime while you're inside my app ecosystem. So if I know you stop playing at Casino X, I know I can basically send you an offer to another one because that dynamic variable is actually going to show up in the report showing me your deposit and revenue activity. So this is where the affiliate can actually own the player, not just on like, hey, I've got your email, but it's like, I've got your email and the program is indirectly, they're not giving the actual personal data, but because it's a click ID, you've captured it on one side with first party data. On the other side, you've mapped it with dynamic variables. That is pretty powerful.
That
And
is.
I think affiliates today actually don't realize this yet, but I think once they see it, they're going to tap into it. And I think we're going to see a weird frenzy where it's like, can I get more of these databases? Because a player is worth, they're not just worth what they were from the one time interaction. You got to hope that that player is as loyal. Let's
Mhm.
like, not everyone can be ass gamblers, right? So if you're not ass gamblers, it's like, how are you going to expect to get that player back? You need to do everything that's possible such that when Google says they're changing the algorithm one more time, you're not screwed. Or same thing, like let's say you're a Twitch or a Kick streamer, you want to make sure that you don't get booted or someone can't just like do black hat unethical hacking where they get your account shut down. This
Mhm.
happens Reddit, YouTube, DMCA takedowns. You just need to own the player.
Yeah. No, it happens, and it happens so much. Look, even as an SEO seller, sometimes whenever I was talking to affiliates and I started talking about SEO, the reply would be, Victor, I don't even know if I'm going to be around for the next 6 months to start ranking today. I don't know if it's going to be possible for me to collect everything that I am right now, just planning and making sure that it's going to grow because maybe there's nothing going to be there. So it is indeed, of course, that's why we have the regulated slash unregulated discussion. Again, not a topic for today, but it is, of course, always going to change depending on where they're sitting right now, especially even on the country they're sitting in right now. Another thing that I was gonna ask you, and you even mentioned such topic, which was the KPIs that people are gonna start looking forward. What are some of the other ones that they should start looking today, non-related to the database? So whenever we're talking about tracking monthly within our own website or affiliate website, should we go for replies? Should we go for brand mentions? Should we go for deposit for long time value? What is it that you know is beyond the vanity matters that you know that companies should look for if they want to grow?
Yeah. Tough question. It's like I haven't seen too many KPIs that are useless. Like as long as it doesn't take you a ton of effort to get KPIs that might not actually be valuable, I think we're moving towards an era where that is becoming more important, where
Hmm.
eventually you will be able to plug them into AI systems and go, okay, can you tell me something about this? On the tracking and revenue side, that data is valuable. It's as much of it you can get, you want it. So, for example, we're starting to see an evolution where affiliate programs are offering player engagement reports, like what games are the players playing? And then we're starting to see finally a breakdown of geo. So, if you use a default tracking, you're not always getting the geo breakdown. That's now starting to change. And then, of course, if you can actually go, what are the deposit methods used? What games do they play? That's helpful. And yeah, it's like when I talk to a lot of smart people, like we are just talking about, like Cash for Dash not long ago, it's like these guys will do anything. It's like Google Search Console, Looker Studio, and it's like, clicks, heat maps. It's like, I don't think there's a place where you stop with one exception, which is in a perfect world, you'd have someone on your team that could actually take care of these things. So it's kind of a catch 22. It's like, do you focus more on content or do you start getting better with data? Maybe content is what gives you the money to be able to afford the data part. And what I hope to be true in the next couple of years, and maybe I'm right, maybe I'm not, I don't know, is I think we'll have more done for you services. So all these high level tech
Great.
stuff that I'm talking about, I think someone's going to be, you know what, I'm going to build a better version where you don't have to do as much of it. It's going to be easier to do these integrations. And then we're going to have this AI magic sauce that's just going to start processing this in the background and giving you insights and recommendations and going, I don't need you to be the analyst of this data, but I'm going to do it for you because I've learned how to become an analyst as an AI agent. I think that's what a lot of people kind of like. I think the whole data viz and data science and business intelligence space, I think this is where things are getting confusing, where it's like these tools are just going to start becoming easier, where it's like, as us as a company, we can give you reports in Tableau and say, you figure it out. Or we can be like, you know what? If we know that they fall in line with patterns, we can actually give you the insights with the data viz. Done for you. I think that's what's coming.
Do you also believe that affiliates will keep on maybe pushing the invitations over to a lot of invite your friend, invite your family, invite everyone that you can? Because what I was talking about during Sigma regarding this exact question was that depending on the geos, depending on the location, the region, you have so many cultural changes, so many cultural differences in regards to who you invite to something, that the invite model can, as you said, so can or cannot change or impact the results about it all. Talking about me, for example, back in Brazil, I have so many friends that love to play, that if I send them a link right now, since I have my, let's say, credibility within my own friends, they are gonna go straight away to the game. But maybe if I send it over to a friend of mine in Estonia, she will ask, "But Victor, what is this? What do you want me to play? What are you expecting out of it? Are you gonna make money from me? Am I gonna lose a lot of money?" So you have a lot of questions that start popping up whenever you're sending and inviting people over. And this is what affiliate is. So should we, as as casino gamers, as esports gamers, keep on pushing towards that friendship link where you're also always activating your inner circle? Or is it time also for those affiliates to build their personal brand so that they can start hitting people outside of the comfort zone?
The whole refer a friend thing, that's a whole other ball game. It works really well, but the pure irony, like I have a friend, she became an affiliate all because of this refer a friend. So I'll tell you her short story. She was in a bingo group, and all of the friends were basically giving each other a tracking link. Like they circled around one each week, so they played a different bingo room. But when it was her turn to give the tracking link, instead of going to the refer a friend, she went to the affiliate program link and she's like, "Wait a minute, I can get a $25 one-time payment for the refer a friend, or I can get 35% lifetime commission." She did that and she made a lot of money.
Oh,
So
that's
refer a
nice.
friend, I think, is always going to be around because, like you said, a link coming from, if you send me a link, well, as much as I don't play as much anymore as I used to, I'm more open to that than a stranger. Where I think there's a whole stranger zone in the middle, but on the other end of it is going to be the influencers. Like, what happens if Drake just posts a link? Tons of people are going to click on it. It's
Sure.
probably not going to be a refer a friend. And I'm sure
Mm-mm.
Drake wants that to be not just a link where it's going to stake.com or dot whatever. It's going to be a tracking link. It's like, or it's going to be a QR code. It's going to be like, scan this because you're not paying me millions of dollars just to send out a link. You're now going to pay me through the affiliate program. I want more of that money.
Bringing back Brazil to the discussion. Neymar, I feel like 2 years ago, he started talking about Blaze, which is a huge casino. And we're not going to be talking bad about Blaze nor Neymar here at all. No. But one thing that happened was because Neymar was such a huge influencer in Brazil, especially considering that in Brazil, first comes religion, then comes football. So you
Oh,
have a lot of dieharded fans who are always going to be looking to Neymar, to Cristiano with a different view. And this turned out to be a bad move for him because we're talking about a country with a low level of digital maturity. We're also talking about a country with a high level of debt. And we're also talking about a country with a high level of desperate people looking to make money. So there comes Neymar, jiggle some balls, and say, hey, click on this link here to play for Blaze. Months later, nobody wanted to talk to Neymar anymore because people, of course, naturally lost a lot of money in those games. So it also, and I see right now in Brazil some influencers openly stating that they're never gonna be referring, they're never gonna be related to a casino because they fear the backlash. Is this fear something credible? Is this fear something tangible? And that's something that they should indeed be afraid of? Or maybe depending on the message, depending on how you position yourself, you can have both worlds. You're gonna have your own self as an influencer, inviting people over to the game. But hey guys, be careful. This is a plus 18 game. You may lose some money here. Be mindful about the money you're gonna spend because education is also becoming a thing right now, very much necessary in iGaming. So for those influencers, stick to the guns, keep on referring, or hey, even if it's for fake. And this is not a humanitarian question, it's more of a business strategy one. Should I relate myself to the iGaming market and maybe harm my image and the brand that I was owning? Or should I just, stick far away from it?
tough question. I mean, Neymar was also doing Poker Stars, so I think that didn't hurt him. I think that actually helped him a bit. I'm not sure if he did anything with stakes, so it's kind of, I do think these partnerships are a small gamble. I mean, when does a stake partnership with Britney Spears work and doesn't work? Like, why did it work with Drake so well? So when it works with Drake, you're kind of like, well, why not just run this across the board? It's worked for most people, so I think in that regard, it's, you won't know until you try. Regarding like the whole ethics part and like the responsible gambling, just for a disclosure, it's like I'm a volunteer at betblocker.org, which is basically blocking software. Funny enough, one thing I learned over the years, my business partner worked in the tobacco industry, and he told me that as regulation and tougher rules regarding the packaging and advertising, he basically said the profits were increasing because it made them more better with data. And there's been
That's right.
something that's come up recently where someone, I don't remember the report, but they said the responsible gambling ads are having more of a positive ROI. So it's kind of like, you're like, they're basically saying you should be responsible, and but it turns out to be advertising. So I don't think a lot of these companies are doing it for unethical reasons, but I mean, I'm not sure if it makes a difference whether we have all the terms and conditions in place. Like, we're talking about kind of compliance, and this is this do me and you have to be compliant when we're emailing each other? I hope not, but obviously if there's an incentive, then we're going down this weird rabbit hole, and I don't know where this is going. I just think the compliance part can sometimes slow things down, but I'm not sure if how necessary it is. That's another rabbit hole of a discussion though.
It is. And you just said something very nice, which will be repeated here now because it's my closing question. You don't know what's going to happen. But do you know something or do you hope for something to happen in the upcoming months, years within the iGaming industry? Not necessarily related to the terms and conditions that we were just talking about, but overall about building a brand, about owning such brand and the hopes that you see for the future in the upcoming years?
I do want a lot to change, and it's kind of like you're asking
Yeah,
for one
sure.
thing. I'll give you a couple. It's like I'd like to see the industry work together where we're very mindful that if one bad actor starts doing things, it paints the rest of the industry in that same brush.
Perfect.
Things like targeting problem gamblers, for example. I mean, there's tons of websites that are focusing on non-GameStop casinos, which is GameStop is basically blocking software, and it's like now that I've been blocked, how do I find a casino that I can play at? I mean, we shouldn't have these things. I do hope that the industry in the next couple of years in iGaming becomes more regulated. We're going very heavy on one side. And I think it's because of overregulation, where it's kind of like, look, if you're going to overregulate, players themselves are dictating what they want. So I think when it comes to consumer behavior, I think there's a lot of people not listening to them at all. Like the players themselves are making the statements. They're like, I'd rather play at a Telegram casino where I don't have the government and banks looking at my transactions, calling me and freezing my bank account, asking me questions about my gambling habits. It's like some of these people they really want pure privacy. So there's a lot of advocates for privacy, and it's like I don't know where it's gonna go. In terms of branding, it's like that's just a hot mess. It's like, it's branding combined with regulation and non-regulation. I do think the influencers are going to become a major part of growing the entire ecosystem, both in regulated and unregulated. They are going to become affiliates without realizing what an affiliate is, and they're going to be, wait a minute, instead of giving me that 10K payment for a single post, I could have actually made a lot more. Once people
Percentage
realize
fee.
this, we're going to see the change. Yeah, exactly.
Yeah. And you were talking about the anonymous side of things. I would actually want to ask you if what I'm seeing is indeed correct. I'm seeing a growth in crypto casino because crypto, the government doesn't know how much you have. It is everything that we all know about Web 3.0. And I can see, and I was seeing even in Sigma Malta, more and more crypto casinos over there just talking very loudly about, hey, you can play it right now and nobody's gonna know. They're gonna know. Nobody's gonna know. But that's the point. Is it a crypto casino something that you see that can grow and should grow, or are we gonna go back to that discussion of terms and conditions will apply differently? This is something that we should be careful with.
X22, I think it should grow for more the right reasons than wrong reasons. I mean, I think players themselves, they want to have transparency. They want trust that the games they're playing are not rigged at all. I mean, I won't name names, but I've seen a lot of major companies that have actually had rigged games where I think the management, they're not even aware of it. And I think sometimes the games weren't even rigged intentionally. They were just accidental mistakes. But if you start putting these things on a blockchain, and maybe you can still have blockchain with privacy, maybe it would give that player comfort where it's like I can access my own data. I mean, there's just
Perfect.
like not having any data at all is kind of weird. And it's kind of like crypto has the power to do data privacy, build trust, and also make the payment side of it like way seamless. So I think maybe in a couple of years we're going to see better payment gateways, and crypto's really making the finance space uncomfortable for the right reasons. Like
True.
it's basically going, look how fast and amazing you can do things on the crypto side, both in terms of privacy and speed and security. I mean, there's the opposite of it, but I think we're moving towards this anyways. And if you look at where money's being invested and where it's going, it's you've got America as a big leader with a lot of VCs. Dubai's got a ton of money. Where else? Asia, there's no shortage there.
Oh,
It's just like follow the money, and people are going, they're always going heavy into these projects.
follow the money and follow Joe Wright on his affiliate BI newsletter and podcast. You guys are in for a treat. That's good stuff. And for everyone else, this is Victor with Kensho Media. Catch you in the next time.